Hey everybody, it is so good to see you. Happy Friday. I hope you are enjoying this amazing weather if you are living where I'm living, because I'm here for it. I know everybody else is ready for snow and that you all love fall, but I love summer. So having 70 some degree days at the end of October is making my week better. And yes, I know it's coming and it's going to be, I'm also ready for Christmas and I can skip Halloween too. So I'm kind of weird about that stuff, but it's great to be here. That has absolutely nothing to do with what I wanted to talk with you about today. I have been blown away by the amount of shares and likes and comments and interaction I've gotten on this week's podcast. So I thought I got to come back and say, first of all, I knew this was a thing, but apparently I didn't know how big it was of a thing because it wasn't my experience. But in hindsight, maybe it actually was. So if you have not listened to this week's podcast, I talked a lot about what it means to feel annoying or to be embarrassed or even shamed by the fact that you feel anxious and that you depend on the people that you care about and love to help you through what that's like and what experience has been with people I've been on consultations with or in Facebook groups with or talked with on Instagram or on Reels or anywhere on the internet. And just knowing that that's been an issue for so many people when feeling anxious is already super duper heavy and hard. And maybe the person that you lean on doesn't really get it, but it feels like the only option you have because your brain is going crazy. So if we've not met before, my name is Megan and I am a life coach. I help people who are stressed out and anxious who sometimes feel annoying because they're so anxious that they don't know how to feel better themselves. Or maybe their anxiety is totally different and maybe it's like mine was where they've got health anxiety and maybe it's just constant underlying stress and anxiousness that they just can't let go of. I help them let go. I help them let go and start to trust themselves and to feel confident and to do things that really blow their mind by the time that we are done working together. So it's the best job ever. And I wanted to hop on today and give you guys a little bit more help with this idea of feeling annoying. So if you didn't listen to the podcast, if you haven't had a chance to learn about this yet, let's do it now. If you're just jumping on, make sure that you are not shy about asking questions. I want to make sure everybody gets what they came for. So let's start with talking about what anxiety is and what it's not. This is a big one because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm so anxious. Like every time I have to take a test or every time I go to apply for a job, I just get really anxious. Yes, true. And that kind of anxiety is super duper normal. Everybody on the planet has it. So you know what it feels like. That is good. However, a lot of times for a lot of people that I happen to work with, it's more than that. It's not just, I feel anxious when this thing happens, because that's situational anxiety and it's super normal and it's not comfortable and we don't like it. So imagine having that out of nowhere a lot of the time and then not really knowing how to stop it. So you create coping mechanisms and you create habits to help you feel better. And sometimes those habits mean really going to one or two people who you love the most, who you feel most connected to, who you trust the most, who may not understand what it's like. Because anxiety is a feeling in your body and the thoughts are just symptoms of anxiety, because if they don't have that feeling all the time, or they are like, oh yeah, I was just anxious, they may not get it. And so that can make it harder for you when you're trying to talk with them because you feel it all the time. So for example, if I go back to my own situation, when I was dealing with chronic health anxiety, where it was lasting pretty much every day, most of the day, I would get a break here and there. I had days where I didn't get out of bed. I had days where I walked around like a zombie, feeling like I zero memory of what was happening or anything like that, because your brain doesn't work well. Those are different things, okay? So, but the feeling in your body could be, I don't feel like I can get a good breath of air. I feel like there's a lump in my throat or I can't swallow. I got brain zaps where you feel like there's like an electric shock in your brain. It could be things like my arms and legs feel really heavy, or my insides are shaking so much that I feel like I'm gonna crumble, even to the point where your legs are shaking or your arms are shaking or your hands are shaking. That's adrenaline, it's cortisol, it's epinephrine. It's all of those hormones that your body naturally produces to keep you safe. So it's a really normal biological response to a threat. So when you are getting ready to go for a job interview, or you're getting ready to ask somebody out on a date, or you are getting ready to take a test, a major test or something like that. When you start thinking about those situations and you feel like, oh my gosh, I might not get hired, I might not get the job, I might not pass my test, then it's normal that your body would have that response, even though it's not a direct threat. It just makes you anxious and you're stressed out. You produce those chemicals and you might notice that my heart's really beating. I'm really nervous about this. So for people who with more chronic anxiety, they feel that sometimes for no reason at all. There's always a reason. What happens is that somewhere along the line, something might trip your trigger. And it might have been something so subtle that you didn't even know it. I've mentioned this before, but I've actually been triggered before and had to be like, what did I see or hear or experience that made me go back? And it might have been something as quick as I'm scrolling on social media and I saw one thing and was like, oh, and scrolled past it, but it was just enough to trigger that old reaction in me and be like, ugh, I don't want to feel this. Not a problem. In the past, it would have been a major problem, but that is a normal response for anxiety. The thing is that your brain doesn't necessarily, one, have to know what it was that triggered it. And you respond to the way that your body feels by creating thoughts about what you think it might be. Okay. And when those thoughts start, that's when we're really trapped. So anxiety can make you feel really super annoying because when you start to overthink, you might think every time I feel this way and I start to think, oh my gosh, they're going to leave me. I feel anxious again. I need to ask them about this situation that makes me anxious. For me, it was always asking my parents about my health, but they were my parents. So maybe this is wrong, but I didn't feel annoying. I felt like I was just asking my parents to help me, but I didn't feel like it was annoying, but maybe it was, I don't know. But if you're asking somebody, are you mad at me? Are you sure you're not mad at me? Are you sure you're not mad at me? Are you sure you're not mad at me? Are you sure I did okay? I didn't mess that up? Did I really screw it up? What if this happens? What if this happens? When you do that, because your brain is like, just make me feel better, make me stop thinking, make me know I'm safe. You can have this thought that like, I'm annoying them to death. That doesn't mean it's true. What happens is that when we're in this space where we don't have any other coping skills other than to ask the people who we trust and to ask for reassurance, which is a totally common coping skill, it becomes our number one coping skill. And especially this is true if you are asking somebody who does not deal with chronic anxiety, who doesn't know what it's like, who really has only gotten anxious when they've had something coming up that would make anyone anxious. Like they almost got hit by a bus, or they got fired from their job. That would make anybody anxious. But for you, if you are a person who struggles with this being a chronic problem, they may not understand that level of anxiety. And that doesn't mean that they think you're annoying. And it doesn't mean that they don't want to help you. It means that they don't necessarily understand. And I just want to offer that they don't need to. And let's be grateful that they don't. Because if they understood, that meant that they felt it too. And we don't want anybody to feel that way. So they don't need to understand, and that doesn't mean that they don't want to help you or that they don't want to try to help you or that they think you're annoying or a burden or anything else. Actually, I would think it would be the flip side, because as somebody who helps people who are anxious, and I'm lucky enough experienced enough to know how hard it is, I don't have that thought of, oh God, I don't know. But for other people to see you like that and not understand it, they cannot understand and still want to do everything they can to help you. But the trick is knowing that you have to tell them what you need. And I'm just going to let you know that telling them that you just need to know that they aren't going to leave you or they're not mad at you or you're not getting fired or anything else isn't actually what you need. That actually tells your brain that there's something dangerous there. Sometimes you need someone to sit with you. And that's great. Let them sit with you. Sometimes you need somebody to scratch your back or hold your hand and just squeeze it. Sometimes you just need a hug. Sometimes you just need somebody to take you out and like get you out of your own head for a while. We're going to take a walk. We're just going to walk. We're not going to talk. We're going to walk. Or we're going to talk about something else and we're going to walk. And not offer you the reassurance that your brain tells you that you need, but to depend on them for that. And that's a process that you can get through. But just understanding that just because they don't understand it and because you're asking them a lot doesn't mean they don't want to help. They probably feel pretty desperate to be able to help you because they love you. It's a totally different thought. Okay? They want to help. They just don't know how to help. Tell them what you need. But you have to know what you need first. What do you need? What do you need most? It's not the reassurance that you think it is. It's okay. You are not being annoying. You are asking for help. And sometimes we have to ask for it in the right way. So what are we going to do about this to help you feel better? The one thing you need to know is this is normal and that you're not annoying. That's super important. I don't want anyone to get off this video and think, oh, I really am annoying. You're not. You're not annoying. It's not hopeless. You are not a burden. You are not any of those things. You're just a person with a lot of feelings inside their body. So what I hope people do is I help them learn how their body feels, because it's those feelings that are causing those thoughts to happen. When you feel this way and your brain says, oh no, something's wrong, otherwise I wouldn't feel this way. This is what happens when there's, when you almost get hit by a bus, so something bad must have happened. Or this is what happens, prehistoric brain is taking over here and it's thinking that you're about to be mauled by a saber-toothed tiger, which those don't exist anymore. Your brain doesn't know, it just reacts. So it reacts first, and then it starts to figure out why it reacted, which is really a pain in the butt, isn't it? Because the rational thinking part of you isn't working. It's too late by the time that you get there. So what I teach you to do is I teach you how to go into your body. And you might be thinking, yeah, that's the last place I want to be because that's the part that feels bad. This is especially true if you are often anxious because of the way that you feel and that you think that you actually fear the way your body feels. I'm going to teach you how to feel it in your body so it doesn't go up here, because the second it goes up into your head, you're on a slippery slope. You have to recognize that and be like, whoa, I just went into my head. I just started creating all kinds of stories about what I think could be wrong. I think I'm annoying this person. I think I'm a burden. I think I have this thing wrong with me. I think this thing is wrong. But those are just thoughts that are coming because you're anxious. So I'm going to teach you to calm down your body and how to be able to say, oh, okay, I know this feeling. I hate it. It feels very, very uncomfortable. I don't love it, but I'm going to teach you how to calm it down and to stop that process of going into your head. It's your head. It's the thinking that's the problem. The feelings, even though they might feel really uncomfortable and dangerous, have never hurt anybody. I promise you are 100% safe when you feel that way. You're probably really fast. Like, you should maybe go outside and time yourself running, because you have so much adrenaline that you could run super fast or lift a car. That's why people can lift cars when they get afraid. Okay, it's the adrenaline, it's the cortisol. And the more you feel it, the more that cortisol builds up. So what we have to do is we have to lower that cortisol level down so you don't feel near as anxious as often. And then you start to notice that, like, oh, this is getting easier. I'm not feeling anxious as often. And when I do, it's not as intense. And you start to think about things differently. So once we get your body calmed down, then we can go into your head, because you can think clearly. And we'll start to look at the emotions that come up there, or what's the thought that always comes up for you when you feel this way? Like, where does your brain go? Does it go to, someone's going to leave me? I'm afraid I'm going to be abandoned. Does it go to, I think I'm dying? Does it go to, I'm afraid to go out in public because somebody's going to see me. I'm afraid they'll talk to me. I'm afraid I look stupid. All of those thoughts are coming from things that you think about yourself, which is really crappy, isn't it? Like, when you go to work and you think everybody thought I was a frumpy idiot today. No, you thought you were a frumpy idiot today. Everybody else just thought you were at work and they were glad you showed up because maybe someone else didn't. That was your thought. So we're going to start looking at the thoughts that you have about yourself and start untying some of the emotions and the thoughts that you have and come up with some better thoughts. And when that happens, you start to do things that are a little bit out of character for your anxious self. And sometimes a bit out of character for your anxious self. You're going to do things like schedule a flight to Mexico for fun, even though you started out telling me you would never get on a plane because you were terrified you would die and you would never travel. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I booked a flight. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Or maybe it's that you decide that, or you come to me and you say, I think I need to quit my job because my mental health is so bad, I don't know what to do. And 3 months later, you're like, yeah, I'm going after a promotion. All right, that's amazing too. Or you come to me because you're afraid that people are going to talk to you in public spaces or at work, and suddenly you're in a bodybuilding show, which happened like a month ago, which was freaking amazing. Like, there's so many different stories I could tell about what happens when you're not so hard on yourself. And when you start to notice that, like, this is just what my body does, that you start doing things that blow your own mind. You get incredibly confident and you start to not be afraid of that feeling because you're like, oh, that is one thing, but I know this is true. And that is a game changer. And that is the coolest thing ever for me as a coach to be able to watch you guys do. So if you would like to talk about what that's like, it's super duper simple. All you have to do is message me and say, hey, I'd like to talk with you. And I'll say, cool, let's find a time to do that. So you can, I know some people are shy and you don't want other people to know your business. And I totally get that. You don't have to. You have the option of leaving a comment on this video and I will absolutely help you. You also have the option of going to my messages and messaging me and I will be sure to get back with you. Or you can just click the link and say, hey, Megan, this is what I want to do. And I'll be like, let's do that. Let's schedule a time and get on a call. The call is super duper simple. We're going to talk about how you feel, about what already is helping you. Maybe you have something that's already working and maybe you don't. That's okay. And we're going to talk about what makes it worse. Ugh. When I go out in public, it feels so much worse. Like my brain just spins and I can't think clearly. Okay, let's talk about that. And let's talk about what you want to be able to do. Maybe things that anxiety is keeping you from being able to do. Because those are really big deals. I'm going to get you there. I'm going to help you feel so good by New Year's, by Christmas. But you have to ask for what you need. Okay? You have to ask for the people who are supporting you now in your life, who may be making you, like maybe doing their best to help you, but you feel annoying. Ask for what you need. And you also have to do the same with me. Because it can't just be like, hello, I have a spot and I thought that I would put your name in here. Give me your number. No. I can't do that. You guys have to ask. I'm never going to be the person that like slides into your DMs. I'm not going to do that because I want you to truly want it. And when you do, I know you can have it. So if you know someone who needs to hear that they are not annoying and they are not a burden and they just need to know what's going on inside their body and brain, could you please share this video with them? Could you maybe like it and save it and share it to them another time? Just like bookmark it if you don't want to share it to them on here. Show this to somebody else so they can get the help that they need. If not me, there are so many amazing accounts on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Reels, therapists and coaches who are out there sharing content that is mind-blowing good stuff. Grounding techniques that are fantastic. I can help you find the one that works best for you. Let's do this. You guys, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, sharing, doing all the things, and I will talk to you again next week. Take care.